Welcome to ViviTalks. I'm Vivienne Aerts. Join me in celebrating 100 talented female musicians from my last album, type of thing. Empowering female cacao farmers in Congo's Virunga State Park and restoring the rainforest. Delve into the musical journeys, creative processes, and unique perspectives of these talented women that were involved in the making of this album. Today I'm talking to Hayley Lam, piano and synthesizer player, who builds bridges between jazz, fusion, and prog rock. New York-based pianist Hayley Lam is an award-winning composer who specializes in both contemporary jazz and classical music. She began her studies in music at a very young age, earning her Associate Diploma, ATCL Recital Piano from Trinity College of London when she was just 11. With a profound interest in contemporary and jazz music, she was awarded a scholarship to further her studies at the prestigious Berklee College of Music with exceptional musical abilities. She completed her Bachelor of Music with a 5-year dual major degree program in performance and jazz compositions in just 1.5 years. With her musicianship compared to as Stravinsky meets Brookmeyer, she was selected as a finalist at the Seattle Women's Jazz Orchestra annual jazz composition contest for women composers in 2016. Hayley Lam is also a 2017 Global Music Awards winner in the Composer and Jazz Big Band category. In 2007, her solo piano work, Distant Structures, is selected to be the winner of the Contemporary Piano International Competition held in Athens. Listen to our conversation as we discuss life as a musician in New York, recording her original music, and playing in multiple bands at the same time. So, welcome, Hayley, to my official podcast. It's such a pleasure to see you again and to get to know you a little better and see what you're up to now. And I'm really proud to present you to whoever's listening. Let's just start with where you're from, what's your story, and what do you do?
Okay, so so music has always been my thing. I started really, really young. My parents started sending me to classes, music classes, when I was allegedly like 2 years old, 3 years old. And so that kind of began my journey. I did a bunch of, classical training. Back in the days, I did like the ABRSM, Trinity College kind of syllabus. But I also went through, I'm not sure if you heard about it, it's like a Japanese Yamaha music course. So the classical background is, like training of your techniques, theory. So I have pretty strong foundation in that. But for the Yamaha course, it's really fun because, at that time I was at that age where I was able to play with different people, like it's an ensemble kind of setting. And that's when I learned kind of like it's like a small introduction to improvising. So and then it kind of caught my interest, and I finished up like my college, not college, but the Trinity College London, the diploma when I was 11. And then I started to explore other things, like other genre, because I think, I have quite a fair number of years training classically. So I was like, okay, you know what, let me try different things. So I began to explore other genres like R&B. That's when I got into like blues, jazz, funk music, and then, the whole improvisation thing. It just really fascinated me because I would say it's a completely different skill set from how, a classically trained pianist is. So, and then I did that a little bit in my teenage years. And I was like, okay, why not I try applying to Berklee College of Music? Because everybody has been talking about it. Like this is like the school to go if you want to do like contemporary music. So I bought a one-way ticket. Okay, but before that, I applied for the school first, right? but I don't know what was going to happen, right? So I have my life back home. So backtrack a little bit. I'm from Malaysia. I grew up in Singapore, so the Southeast Asia region. So at that time, I was like, okay, I don't know what this is going to be, but I applied for the school. I got it. They even offered me a scholarship, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna come. And I didn't actually think that I'm gonna finish everything. I was like, okay, let me just book a ticket and see how it goes. So the first semester, I love it. We did like the entrance exam thing. And somehow I was like, hey, I actually can do a lot more. And I try to do like test out. I'm sure you heard of that, right? Like from Berklee College. So there's like all these things that you can test out for, and the ensemble. There's so many different genres. And then I was surprised that I was able to just complete the degree in like 1.5 years. So yeah, I did jazz composition and performance. And even though it's like kind of short, right? Like 1.5 years, but I gained so much knowledge in it felt like it's definitely life changing for me because the people that I meet, everybody was super talented. The skills that I picked up, it was just it's you can never get that anywhere else. Yeah, so kind of like a summary of
Wow. But
academic.
did you live in London as well then? Because of Trinity
Oh,
or no?
yeah. So this syllabus is a London syllabus, but then they have like like a certification kind of thing. So when I take the exam, those people will come to my country to for us to take the exam. So it's like a
certification program.
yeah, kind of. But yeah, it's
But your local teachers will prepare you for that.
exactly, yes. Local teachers will prepare me for that. And then when I'm ready for the exam, I think it's probably like an annual thing. So the I would say the royal board, or like whoever that is administrating that certification, they will come down to like different parts of the country to take to administer the program or the exam. Yeah.
Well, that's really amazing because probably that prepared you like super early on your journey towards America, right?
Yeah, it is. So yeah, I've always been doing music like since I was a kid. In terms of preparation, there's like different aspect, right? Like I would say America is a very, very different culture.
Oh yeah, totally.
From where I come from. I don't know how much that prepared me, but definitely the knowledge of it, like the foundational, counterpoint,
Yeah, all the theory stuff, you're ready.
theory stuff definitely prepared me for Berklee. And I was really independent, since I was a kid. I was like doing a bunch of other things, this and that, juggling between like academics and all this music things. So I think it also helped me in the way when I came to America. All my friends and family, they were back home, so it takes some kind of independence to be able to survive in this country. So yeah.
And to focus on the studies too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I did conservatory in the Netherlands already. So I had the similar story. I went to Berklee when I was 25, so I didn't have to do most of the theory classes. I tested out a bunch.
Exactly.
And it was really fun to dive in right to the topics that are like conducting for film. I did so many weird classes that were not like basic, and that was the advantage of just diving right into the cool stuff, right? I think you must have felt that too, because you could choose the classes you enjoyed
Yeah.
because you tested out such so many.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, I tested out the things that I kind of knew about already.
Yeah,
So
just the basic knowledge.
yeah, exactly. I want to come here to learn the things that I don't know, and I'm hungry for the knowledge. So
Exactly.
I rather take courses that I have absolutely no clue about and just dive in and learn,
Yeah.
than being comfortable and be like, okay, you know. So I feel like, coming to America is like a bold, very bold decision. So why not, right? Like taking classes that no clue what it is. I think that's the excitement and the fun of it. Yeah.
What were your favorite classes?
Oh, definitely all the ensemble classes. I think was it in yellow? I was doing like Pat Matinee or Yellow Jackets.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's all these ensemble classes that I enjoy the most because it's so much fun. You get to interact with different students with like different talents, and it's like you have to bring something to the table, right? Because like, okay, I'm the pianist, and then there's like drummer, there's like guitar, so like everybody is putting themselves out there, right? So I feel those classes are the ones that are really the most exciting. And I did jazz composition, so my final project, it's fun because I think I put in a lot of effort. Like I remember I was like composing for the 16-piece jazz big band, right?
Right.
The 10 minutes long composition, and it took months, like hours and hours. Like, so like it's like a whole, like, when you are in that creative process, you just dive in and you just lost track of time. And yeah, sometimes I feel like I was like not working, but I was like, doing the creative thing until like late in the morning, in the like midnight or like early mornings. And I remember like the next day I have to run to school and like do the taping of like print out the scores. It's a whole thing
Yeah.
because not only you want to create something, you compose, but then there's also a lot of admin work behind it that people don't really see it, because you have to print it, you have 16 scores, you have to, different parts, and then you have to tape up, and then you have to book for the room to rehearse. And then,
Yeah.
yeah, so eventually I actually did a recording of that composition. So it's like
Nice.
rehearsing, and then you have to record, and then you have to ask like, the different engineers to help you. So it's a lot of work in just the 10 piece, I mean, like the 10 minutes piece. So, but people, sometimes they just don't know like how much work it actually goes into that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. And then after graduating, did you move to New York?
Yes. So I moved right after I graduated. I want to try, because at the time I was like deciding, right, if you want to venture from like between the East Coast and West Coast, but I felt like, Boston to New York, it's not too far away. And I love New York City, and hence I have been here for like what, 8 years? I don't know, like 7-ish, 8 years. Because of the vibrancy of the city, you can just bar hop or like music venue hop because it's kind of close in proximity, right? Like you can just take the subway. And again, the talent here is just crazy. Like everybody, like you just pick any person that's like basking around the city is super talented. And yeah, I decided to move here. One of the main reasons is because of the music scene is so vibrant. You get to meet and network with a lot of people over here. And I think like, was it 2 years ago or something like that? So Berklee, they have the New York Berklee that just opened up. I guess So, it's not just like the Berklee network in Boston, but a lot of people come here, and then now they have this master's program in New York City, and it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So you work for Berklee, New York now?
Oh, no,
Or
no, no. I was
no?
just saying because I have friends that, like graduate from the Boston, the bachelor degree. And I think they have also a jazz master program over there, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in Valencia. But I'm just saying, like now I'm in New York City, in Manhattan. Okay, they are very close to where I stay. That's why it kind of just, reminded me that, hey, you know what, the Berklee community is not just in Boston, but here there's a lot of people that you meet.
There's so many.
Yeah, so many. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's been amazing. So how would you describe your music? Are you still composing, or are you doing all different kind of, I assume you run
Yeah,
projects.
so
Tell me the
it's interesting because like I feel like I have a lot of different influences. Like, okay, I'm like classically trained, like all doing like Ravel stuff, like Rachmaninoff, like when I was like very, very early. And then I went into like the jazz phase, like the R&B phase. And then obviously I went to Berklee to do jazz, right? And there was a period of time, but now I'm still, really into it. It's like the fusion stuff, like Chick Corea, Return to Forever, that kind of Alan
Nice.
Holdsworth kind of thing. So I like that juxtaposition between like jazz, which is like improvising, and also like a rock element. I was into like progressive rock. I don't know, I covered a couple of like Dream Theater songs. So I'm like, feeling it out. I like the really like rock progressive thing. I also like improvisation and music, jazz. And then recently, I don't know if you can see, like I have like all this
Electronics.
Yes, now I'm into that. I'm into like sound synthesis, like tweaking, I don't know, tweaking like certain things. I find that really enjoyable because, there's so many ways to manipulate a certain sound. Like you tweak it differently every time you play it. If you feel differently, it's a whole different vibe. So right now, I guess like, the things that I do also have that kind of element, some electronics inside, synthesizer. I have a bunch of electronic synthesizer at the back. Yeah, so that's kind of like where I would say my influence is right now. But obviously, I still do a bunch of other things, right? Other gigs that I'm doing, like it can be like pop music, jazz music, like other things. But now I'm like into this electronic vibe.
Cool. So you have a MOOC too, and you program? So you work with like Ableton and then load in, or you create new pads, or how does that work?
Yeah, I'm still using Logic.
Logic, I love Logic.
I think it's like the Berklee thing, like it's like a package I would get like since. So I didn't switch anything to like Ableton or what. But right now I'm still using Logic. But yeah, I just recorded in. I do have actually 3 MOOCs. I have the mini MOOC is right there, if I can see.
Mini
like,
MOOC.
Mini MOOC, like that's like the classic. And then
for those that don't know, maybe you want to describe what the MOOC is. What would be the definition of MOOC for people that don't know?
It's like it's like analog, like everything. You start from like the basic kind of one note kind of thing. Like you can tweak. It's like the waveform, right? Like it's just like a foundation, but I think, compared to like other synthesizers or like things that you can do in Logic is very like digital, right? So the difference, okay, how I would explain it is that, right, it's analog, so you start from the basic, right? And because of that, you are able to tweak a lot of things, a lot of commutation that you can do with the attack, with the the release, the ADS sort of thing, compared to like a synthesizer that is more digital, right? It's preloaded, so you already have the
Right.
sound banks in there. You can like just switch and press a couple of buttons. You will,
Right.
load out like a string sound. You will load out like an organ, like a piano. So that's more like a preset kind of setting. Same thing for like, the Logic, right? Sometimes you can just, load up sounds that is already,
Right.
like a preset kind of thing. So I think that's the fun part of it for analog scenes, because and there's like a lot of different things that you can do, like the arpeggios.
Arpeggiator, yeah.
Arpeggiators, and so I'm kind of into that right now.
So you have the Minimoog, and what else?
That one is the subsequent 37. So that one I would use it for more like the bass. Like it's the bass is like awesome. Like it's so fat, the sound is just unlike any other thing that you can hear out there. And that's like, I use that usually for the bass. And then the Minimoog is just the classic model. I have been eyeing it for a while. It has been like on the second-hand market, Reverb, but last year they just released the 2022 version. So I'm like, I'm gonna get it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So did it change the way you compose too?
Yeah, I absolutely think so. And I think music is just like a journey, right? The things that I may like when I was 10 years old, and then along the way I meet different people. I explore different genres, different music. I grow up, I kind of feel different things. So I would say like my style, definitely changed, right? Because I think, it's a journey, and I am also excited to be that, be able to have different styles, right? I'm sure like 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, my style will change, hopefully for the better. But yes, I do feel like my style changed a little bit here and there. I pick up things like, the sound that I listen to. I'm a little bit more particular. But the way I compose, maybe, let me think. Like I think it changed a little bit, because like, back in the days when I was like doing like big band, right? Like I will think about a chord first, maybe, and then think about the melody. But then with the sound synthesis and stuff like that, I feel like I want to be comfortable with the patch that I'm in first. So I'm kind of like just, having a coffee in the morning, whatever it is, I just want to feel it out. Like it depends on the mood, and then let me tweak a little bit here and there. And the sound is the one that inspired me to write the music, to come up with certain harmonies, certain melodies.
Nice.
I think that kind of changed a little bit. Like it's more like, okay, I like this sound, I like this sequence, and then let's see where it goes from there. Yeah.
And then you compose right into Logic, you record it right away, or do you first like make a old school score, and then, or do you write more like this is a song with a like AABA, or there's like lyrics are you singing as well?
So that question is funny, because I used to do some singing back when I was like a kid, but I just feel like I can hit the notes, right? Like I have perfect pitch. I know like what is in tune and not in tune, but I feel like I did not go through with that in terms of the voice training, like,
Mm.
and I can hit the notes, but I'm not like amazing, talented like singer that can just have like a huge voice. Like I'm not like that, but like background singing kind of thing, I still can do it. So going back to your question, what was your question? Oh,
Do you,
how
yeah.
do I write the music? Okay. Interesting question, because I also kind of like ask around like how you do it with my other musician friends. So what inspired me is I will try to mess around with my instrument first. So it's
Mhm.
not like I'm not somebody who like, okay, you know what? I went to bed the next day, I woke up, I dreamt of this tune, and like, okay, let me jot down. I'm not like that. Like some people will be like,
Mm.
okay, I'm like walking in the park, and then suddenly this tune hits me, and then I have to run back and write the notes down. So I'm not like that, surprisingly. I don't know whether it's good or bad, but I usually just try out, like, I'll be like sitting down at my piano or like my synthesizer and try different chords, different things.
Mm.
And then when I find something that I like, I record it. So it's like, yeah, I think this is it's a cool sound, like a cool motif or like a harmony. Like, yeah, let me just record it first, and then I just keep messing around until I kind of like a
Mm.
phrase or something like that. And then that would be like, bits and pieces of ideas being recorded here and there so that next time I can, listen back and like, hey, I think I like this. Let me pull that up. So I would start with that first, like building the ideas. And then when I feel like, okay, I have enough materials to be able to piece that together in like a composition of like, I don't know, 4 minutes, 5 minutes,
Mhm.
then I will start to write it down like traditional like
Lead sheet
yeah like
or the whole score.
so I still use like the score thing, but I will write like, okay, these are the notes, these are the motif, and then I will put like the chords on top of it if it makes sense.
Mhm.
But I'm not gonna like write every single note without chords, so
Right.
it's kind of a lead sheet. Like you have the melody, and then you have the chord. Sometimes I like the chord to be of a certain way, like whatever voice saying, oh, this note has to be there, and then I will write the chords
Yeah,
out
certain
specific.
groove.
Yeah. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, that's kind of how my thought process is. Like start, yeah, I'm just like messing around, like things that I like. I try to, record it, bit and pieces. And obviously it's always a process, because I remember like the 10-minute piece that I told you about, right? It was originally for 5 minutes. And I remember I did like this, it's called the Unknown Bell #1. That's like a 5 minutes one. And then after that, I'm like, hey, you know what? Like, I think I can add this XYZ, blah, blah, blah. And then I start to expand it. So sometimes it's like, yeah, I write something like a month later, and I feel like, no, I want to tweak certain things here and there. So it's always a process. And it's also, I feel like it's, nothing is perfect, but the creative process, unfortunately, you always like, okay, what can I change? What, like, you always work towards the goal of trying to be perfect, even for recording, right? I'm sure right? Like, oh, this particular second, I need to tweak this. Like, it's like a journey, right? Like you keep
Right.
working on it, sit on it. A month later, you feel like, yeah, maybe I should change this or not. And then
Mhm.
finally you'd be like, okay, I think I'm done. I'm just gonna not think about it anymore. It gets to a point where you are just exhausted by like, okay, nothing's perfect. I'm just gonna, submit this or like, send it to distribution or whatever. It's exactly the same thing as how the recording is. I remember when I did my EP, right? It's like spend so much time tweaking things and like, oh no, this one it has to a little bit more on that. But it comes to a point where you'd be like, okay, I think
It's done.
it's too done. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that, your album. Did you release multiple and also who's on it? Is it just you? Are you like with the band?
Yes. So I released this in 2019, like right before the pandemic. I know. But it was fun though. It took me more than a year, 100% like more than a year. It's like I remember at that time, okay, I have 5 pieces. Uh, two of them is like solo piano kind of thing, more like abstract, atonal kind of vibe. So if it's solo, it's still relatively easier to manage in terms of like, like the administrative things, right? So you can just book a studio, record until you think it's perfect, until you know like, okay, this is the take, right? And for those pieces, which is like a piano improvised atonal kind of thing, the entire track is one take because it's not like you can like bit and pieces kind of put in together. So because it's like very organic, like the way I compose, and one of the pieces is actually like an inspiration from like an art. So the intention is like to make it flow. Is entirely one take. And then for the other songs, there is one song with a singer, like a voice. I would say that's more like a combination of like improvisation, jazz, like pop a little bit, R&B. That took a while because you have the basses, you have the pianist like me, the voice, the drum. So there's a lot of different parts. So I remember like booking multiple studios because the first time we took it and then the producer listens to it and like, no, I think we need to fix this. So yeah, so I remember booking like 3 different settings of like studio for just the drums, the basses, and then another setting just for the singer, and then another setting for the pianist, which is me. And I remember
3 different locations too.
3 different locations.
Wow.
Yes. So it's a lot of work, as you see, right? It's just one track, like 4 minutes maybe. So booking the studio is already exhausting. And then obviously you write the songs, you put it together, the charts, you need to rehearse. That takes a while too. And then mixing, mastering. Okay, that's kind of like for everything, all the songs. And then for the other songs too, there are 2 more tracks. That one, thankfully, I was able to do it like remote. So I was like asking, no, actually I lied. Oh yes, no. I lied. No, so actually yes, the drama, he's in Europe at that time, so he recorded the tracks and then sent it over. Bassist also recorded it differently. And then
Do I know them?
I don't know if you you can go search and see if you look it up if you know. Do you know Fabio? Fabio? No, okay, it's fine.
Yeah, I know a Fabio. Maybe yeah.
Yeah, maybe there's a lot of Fabio.
Berklee people.
Yeah, Berklee people, yeah. Yeah, you can look it up and see because I think different tracks, I think there's different drama. Yeah,
I see.
yeah. And what else? Yeah, so that's like the whole process of putting it together when obviously the post-production, that's where you get lost. You really get lost because it's like you tweak this and then tweak that, like, no, it's not perfect. Anyway, and then I did the video myself. So that is one of the track. We have a video out there, again, same thing. Like, it was my first time doing a video shoot like that with music. Lots to learn because I remember like having to put a video shot for like 3 seconds and then like sync it together and then like another frame. So it took me like at least 2 weeks just to get all the pieces together, the video and also in sync with the recording. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, congrats on that. Then did you bring it on the road? Did you play these songs live? Are you performing your own music? And
yeah, so I think what happened was that, it was right before the pandemic, and then after that pandemic happens, and then kind of lost steam a little bit in terms of like, playing the music, like my music. So I did play a couple of settings, but more so like solo, like me, or like, not so much of a full band kind of thing. But right now I'm playing, but more so, playing other people's music. So I'm like, playing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I see you on Facebook and Instagram. You're playing all the time. I think you're in high demand, and so I think you have no shortage of stage performances. From my understanding. So that's cool. I'd love to ask you another question. Can you share a moment when your music had some impact on somebody's life?
Wow, that is a really deep question. Impact on somebody's life. Well, I need to think about that. I wouldn't say like it's like impacting, like, oh my God, like I listen to your music and then the next day I want to do music. Like it's not so like that, but like I have people come to me saying really good things, and I was like surprised. So I think one moment that I remember was that 10-minute piece music, the big band that I told you about. Eventually it got picked by one of the, I don't know if you heard of the Jan conference, like a jazz conference.
Network.
Yeah, exactly. It was at that time, it was in New Orleans. So it got picked by, I don't know, the committee or what, like it. So what happened was that they actually played my music during the conference. And there were people coming to me and say like, oh my God, like, I don't know how you did this. Like, wow, this is amazing. Like this idea and that idea is, yeah, difficult to play, but we have fun. And I was surprised because like at the time I'm considered like a bachelor music, like I'm still doing my bachelor degree, but I think the people that played my music, they were like in the master's program and they're pretty advanced. And I have people that come to me and say, wow, like you have to continue to do this, I really enjoy it. So I think that actually kind of weird, like it sounded like they impacted my life rather than me impacting them. But yeah, it's more so the experience of, when you don't really expect, like, because if you listen to it, it's not conventional. Like my music is always like quirky, weird, atonal, like I love that kind of thing.
Different.
Yeah, it's very different. So not, I was gonna say it's like mainstream. Not a lot of people will be like, what the heck is this? Like what? So to have people come to me and say, wow, I this is a good idea. I think, yeah, that that was a really, really good experience for me. Yeah.
Right. And that was for a big band, right?
That was a big band, yes.
Are you thinking of like doing more with big bands in the future? I mean, I know they're hard to get, but is that
Oh,
one of your passions, dreams,
no,
ambitions?
like I have been thinking about it, right? Like I have this, a couple of pieces for big band. It's okay, but it's so much work. It's a lot of work. And then you have to find the people to play. I think my dream, one day, my dream is to have, like at least like an EP, but like all big bands. It's still one of my goals one day. But because like even though I have the song out there, this composition and whatnot, right? But it has not been recorded like professionally.
I
It's
see.
not.
Right.
It's just like, yeah, like a live setting. So I wish one day, I'm able to have that resources and materials to be able to record it like professionally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, it's a massive expense to get a studio big enough to
Yes.
feature like 20 people in a room and get them all
I
ready.
know it's hard, and you are talking about 20 people, right? So
Right? Yeah. I mean, it depends on the big band, but yeah, that's
yeah,
awesome. How about, so my project obviously had a bunch of women
I
because the
know.
chocolate is made by women, and I wanted to feature all my friends. And therefore, I love to ask the question, have you faced any stereotypes or biases being a woman in this music industry? And how do you challenge or overcome them?
I think so, you know, I'm I'm very pro women, right? Like I think there are a lot of things that we can do. It's just that maybe we don't have that opportunity, right? And I feel like it's not just the music industry, right? Like the other industry is the same thing.
Right.
So for music in particular, I feel like I was in my shell a little bit because the things that I like is really quirky. Like again, I say I'm not a conventional kind of person, like I love atonal. I like all these crazy things. I like it. And it's not a lot of I feel like not a lot of women that is into that. So most of the time, right, like the music that I listen to or like, right, the interaction would be with a male or like a male musician. And so sometimes you feel like, oh, as a woman, like I need to kind of spread the love a little bit more, right? Like, having you know, that passion for certain things. So I would say the, you know, how do I say it? Like the composition between male and female, I still feel like, female is still a lot less than male in the industry. But so like this past few years, I feel like there has been a lot of work that has been done, which I'm, very, very grateful for. So but in terms of like, have I encountered like a how to say like an unfair situation, like I'm being ostracized because I have not really encountered that yet, which is great. But I just feel like that there's sometimes, there's some opportunity. I feel like certain uh genres they are more catered to male rather than female, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, especially in jazz, it's there's a lot of guys.
Yes,
But
100%.
also in rock music, right? In rock music, it's maybe even worse. Yeah.
100%. And I feel like I was having a chat with my friend, like fusion music, music, it's like zero. Like He's like, sometimes I play all this music and whatnot, right? Like in the fusion, jazz fusion kind of thing. If there's like one woman in the audience, well, that's amazing. Because like the genre, it's just, very, very catered to male. And yeah, and you say right, rock, progressive rock, like that's a lot of male versus female.
Well, and they might see you and have a certain image of what you might be or can do, and they judge you before they even hear you, right? So you might not even get the gig because they have no clue.
Yeah, I get your point. But I want to think from a positive side too, right? Even though that, yes, they may see you differently, right? But if you can prove to the male audience that, yeah, I can be as good as you, right? If you think from a positive standpoint, you have less women, right? So the probability of you, outshine other people, like you'll be like way more unique, right? Than other people, because there's just that few female who do this. So I would also want to, try to think on the positive side, like, okay, maybe there's like more chance for me to outshine, be like crazy, quirky kind of thing. So yeah, I want to believe that, think on the positive side, but
yeah,
100%, right? Like those genres is not the composition is like it's a lot of male versus female.
yeah. I'd love to ask are you a teacher? Do you teach as well, or you just perform?
I mostly perform right now, but like before pandemic, I used to teach. So I was like teaching public school.
Oh wow.
If you name like all the types of, not name, but like different students, like background, like I have teach all sorts of background before, from like public school to inner schools to like one-on-one teaching privately to like really different kind of background, if you know what I mean. So because New York City, right?
Everybody's
so
here.
exactly, there's so many types of different income group, different ethnicity, races. So I have teach them all, like so that
Awesome.
yeah. So and also different setting, right? I was like in after school program. I have like one-on-one setting, even like toddlers. So yeah, I was doing a lot back then, but then now I kind of like dial back a little bit more. Mostly I focus on the shows, the gigs, more like that.
Performing now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. What advice would you give like aspiring musicians who are just starting out their journey?
I would say I would say be bold, because that is what I did. I take the risk. I didn't know if I'm going to make it. I don't know what's going to happen, right? I was in a very comfortable zone and I felt like, yeah, I want to take the chance to explore music. As I said, I book a one-way ticket. I don't know when I'm going to come back home, right? So I think that was one of the best decisions that I made. I never regret it. Obviously it's not easy at the beginning, right? It's nothing is easy in New York. Like if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. That's I can attest to that. So so I would say take the risk, be bold, and try as many things as possible, right? The different genres like I'm in, like just trying out different things. Because that will surprise you, because sometimes I didn't know, like, hey, I maybe like 2 years back I wasn't really into this, but then now I listen to it, I'm like, oh wow, it's amazing. So I would say don't keep the doors closed, right? Keep trying new things, meet people, try to network too, because there's so many talents in New York City, and you just don't know who you're gonna bump into. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. That's some great advice. What projects are you excited about, or how do you see yourself? What's gonna happen?
What's gonna happen? That's a big question. I don't know.
I
Like
know.
in 5 years, well, I don't even know what's gonna happen in a year. Big projects. Wow. Um, so I have been in a couple of bands, right? I think the one that I'm excited to be in is there's this band that I played for that actually just started to play for like last week. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? And I think you might like this because it's like a female front band. So the bassist, the singer, the guitarist, they're all women. And it's like rock, classic rock, ballad kind of thing. So I will be their keyboardist slash synthesizer.
Nice.
So it's like, you know, having like-minded people together and having that female energy, trying to put, you know, a composition together. And I felt really good about, you know, the rehearsal that I did like 2 weeks ago, and we're gonna have a show that's coming out on 26th of October. So right now we are trying to rehearse a little bit here and there, and there's gonna be a couple of releases coming up by the end of the year. So yeah, I think this is gonna be a project that I'm super excited for because I feel like, you know, that female vibe.
Is it original music, or is the band leaders composing, or you all are adding to it?
Yeah, it's original. So we are trying to, you know, put together something. So we rehearse. So the leader will, you know, have her inputs, and then I think how it works is like we want it to be more organic. So like we will go to rehearsals and like, okay, I want to try this thing. Let's see it works. This bass line, this harmony, this sound. So it's more like a collaborative effort. So it's not like, okay, you know, I write this song. This is my chat. You play this. You play this. Yeah. So it's a collective effort in putting it together.
Cool. And are you planning more stuff with your own project too?
Yeah, right now, because I'm pretty busy. So most of the shows that I'm doing, it's more with the different bands that I'm in. But you know, I would really, really like to have the time to just put, you know, things in perspective, like for my own thing going on. As you know, it's a lot of work, like as a leader, right? Like it. So yeah, definitely, you know, one day I would want to have that for myself too. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, they can all find you on the Instagram and on Facebook and on Spotify, right?
Yeah.
iTunes. I'll put all these links in, and it's been such a pleasure to talk to you.
No, thanks for inviting me.
Thank you so much.
Your project, yeah.
Thanks for being part of that.
No, thanks for inviting. Yeah, pleasure.
As I conclude this episode of ViviTalks, I want to express my sincere gratitude for joining me in this musical journey. I hope you enjoyed exploring the stories and experiences of the incredible female musicians on my album. To stay updated on our latest episodes, subscribe to ViviTalks on your favorite podcast platform. Connect with me on social media through Vivienne, and please check out my album Type of Thing, a musical exchange featuring 100 female musicians to empower female cacao farmers of Virunga State Park in Congo. It's about more than just music. It's about making a positive impact in the world. Your support is part of that journey, so thank you once again for tuning in. Until next time, keep celebrating the power of music, and let's continue to amplify the voices of remarkable women in the industry. Stay inspired, stay empowered, and keep the music flowing. With love and gratitude. Till soon.